You wake up every day with dreams in your heart, yet you find yourself standing still, stuck in the same place. You want more success, more joy, more life, but it feels like something invisible holds you back. Let me tell you the truth, plain and unvarnished. You are not growing because you are not deciding. Not truly. You wish, you hope, you daydream, but you don't decide with that unwavering, burning definiteness of purpose that transforms wishes into reality. Growth demands discomfort, it demands action. It does not come to those who merely want it, it comes to those who demand it of themselves. You say you want to change, but you fear the price. You fear rejection, judgment, failure, and sometimes even success. So you hesitate, and in hesitation, you allow doubt to creep in and take root. You speak words of hope, but your actions whisper uncertainty. You are not growing because you keep negotiating with your goals. You say, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow becomes next week. You say, I'll do my best. When deep down you know you're only giving what's comfortable, you settle for average because greatness requires commitment. You're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect confidence, and in waiting, you let time slip through your fingers like sand. You are not growing because you surround yourself with people who feed your limitations instead of fueling your possibilities. You let the opinions of small minds silence the voice of your own greatness. You seek validation instead of pursuing your vision. You care more about being liked than being legendary. You are not growing because you are not listening to the voice within that quiet, powerful voice that tells you, you were meant for more. You ignore it. You bury it under excuses, distractions, and doubts. But that voice won't stop speaking. It won't stop calling you forward until you answer. You don't need more motivation. You need more movement. You don't need more knowledge. You need more belief. You don't need permission. You need a decision, because the truth is simple. Your growth is waiting, but it will not come to you. You must rise to meet it. You are not growing because you haven't made a definite decision. You are not growing because you're seeking comfort over commitment. You are not growing because you haven't made a definite decision. That single truth might sting, but it is the key to unlocking everything you say you want. People talk about success, dream about success, even obsess over it, but few ever make the one fundamental move that separates the dreamers from the achievers making a real decision, a decision so firm and so final that there's no turning back. A definite decision is not a half-hearted wish, it's not a vague intention, it's not something you say today and forget by tomorrow. A true decision cuts off all other possibilities. It is a commitment so deep that it changes your identity. Once you make a definite decision, you no longer ask if, you ask how. You stop wondering if the road is worth taking and start walking it, no matter the terrain, no matter the distance, no matter the cost. The truth is, most people avoid making that kind of decision because it requires courage. It forces you to take responsibility for your life. It removes all excuses, all distractions, and all fallback plans. It strips you of the ability to blame others. When you decide with finality, you are saying to yourself and the world, I am in charge now. That terrifies most people, because if it doesn't work, you have no one to blame but yourself. But that's also where your power lies, in knowing that your future is not dictated by chance, but by choice. Look around. How many people do you know who say they want to start a business, write a book, become financially free, or transform their health? They speak about it with enthusiasm, sometimes even with passion, but years go by and nothing changes. Why? Because they never actually decided. They considered. They entertained the idea. They dabbled. But they didn't decide, and life does not reward the dabbler. Life responds to the definite. When Andrew Carnegie challenged a young Napoleon Hill to study the world's most successful men and uncover the principles behind their greatness, he said something powerful. Successful people make decisions quickly and firmly. They don't waver. They don't sit on the fence. Once they commit, they burn the boats and move forward. That's why they grow. That's why they achieve. That's why they stand out in a world full of hesitation. Indecision is the breeding ground of doubt. It's where dreams go to die. Every time you hesitate, every time you delay, every time you say someday, you feed the voice of fear. You train your mind to believe that uncertainty is safer than action. You condition yourself to settle, and you can't grow while you're settling. You can't rise while you're rooted in fear. Growth demands that you stretch, and stretching begins with choosing to reach, even if you don't yet know how far you'll go. Think about the word decision itself. It comes from the Latin decidere, which means to cut off. A real decision cuts off all other options. It's the moment you stop entertaining alternatives. When a general burns the bridge behind his troops, there is no retreat. Only victory or defeat. That's the spirit you must adopt. When you decide to change your life, truly decide, you cut ties with your old excuses, your old limitations, your old habits. You become someone new in that instant. The decision doesn't just lead to growth, it is the start of your transformation. People often say, "I don't know what I want." But more often than not, the truth is that they do know, they're just afraid to choose. Afraid to commit to a path in case it's the wrong one. Afraid to chase a dream because of what they might lose. But the worst decision is no decision. Because while you wait, while you hesitate, life moves on. Opportunities pass. Time slips away. The person who was once ready becomes the person who missed their chance. A definite decision brings clarity. It brings energy. The moment you choose, truly choose, your mind begins to work for you. Ideas start to flow. Your subconscious begins searching for paths, solutions, allies. You begin to notice chances you once overlooked. You attract momentum, and more than anything, you build belief not because of what you know, but because of what you've committed to. Belief doesn't precede action. Action builds belief, and action follows decision. When you haven't made a definite decision, you're easily distracted. The smallest obstacle feels overwhelming. You become a magnet for confusion and a prisoner of procrastination. Your motivation fluctuates because your vision isn't fixed. Your energy fades because your heart isn't all in. You look for shortcuts and get rich, quick schemes, because you haven't locked into a long-term direction. You float, and the only thing that grows when you float is frustration. There is a tremendous difference between wanting and deciding. Wanting is passive. Deciding is active. Wanting leaves room for negotiation. Deciding slams the door shut. When you decide, you don't need constant motivation. The decision itself becomes your fuel. You wake up with purpose because you've chosen your destination. You endure the struggle because you've chosen the reward. You resist distraction because you've chosen your focus. The decision becomes the filter through which you see the world. Everything is either aligned with your goal or it isn't, and anything that isn't aligned, you ignore. If you feel like you're not growing, not moving, not evolving, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you're not committed. Somewhere deep down, you're still holding back, still waiting for something to happen before you take your next step. But growth doesn't wait, it doesn't knock twice. It shows up for those who are ready and willing to say, "This is who I am, this is what I want, and I will not stop until I get there." And don't mistake noise for commitment. Talking about your goals, posting about them, journaling about them, none of that is the same as deciding. Deciding doesn't always come with applause. It's not loud. It happens in a quiet, sacred moment where you say enough. Enough of the fear. Enough of the excuses. Enough of the waiting. It's in that moment of stillness that the most powerful shift occurs. The moment you tell yourself, "I will," not "I'll try," not "I hope," but "I will." Some people spend their whole lives preparing to live, but never actually start living. They collect knowledge, attend seminars, read books, but never apply what they learn, because they are still undecided, still unsure, still stuck in the realm of maybe. But success is allergic to maybe. Growth refuses to live in the shadows of indecision. The universe responds to boldness, not hesitation. There is no perfect time, no flawless plan, no certainty. Growth always begins with a leap, and the leap begins with a decision. You might stumble. You might fail, but once you decide, you've already won half the battle, because you've taken back your power. You've told the world, and more importantly, yourself, that you are in control now. Every person who has achieved greatness started in the same place with a choice. They chose to believe when it would have been easier to doubt. They chose to act when it would have been easier to delay. They chose to stay the course when it would have been easier to quit. That power exists within you right now. It always has. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You need a moment of truth, a moment of commitment, a moment of absolute, unshakable decision. You are not growing because you're seeking comfort over commitment. That simple truth lies at the root of most stagnation, most frustration, and most unfulfilled potential. Growth and comfort do not live in the same house. One must be chosen, and the other must be sacrificed. But in a world that constantly whispers convenience, ease, and instant gratification, it's no wonder why so many people choose comfort, even as their soul yearns for more. Comfort is seductive. It feels good in the moment. It reassures you. It keeps you safe. It gives you the illusion of peace while slowly dulling your ambition, and it never asks too much of you. It welcomes your excuses, your procrastination, your fears. It lets you believe that you have time, that it's okay to wait, that it's okay to stay where you are just a little longer, and before you know it, a year has passed, then 5, then 10, and you're still in the same place, wondering why nothing changed. Growth, on the other hand, is demanding. It doesn't knock politely. It kicks down the door of your limitations and asks you to become more. It pushes you, it tests you, it breaks you open and forces you to rebuild. It doesn't cater to your emotions, it doesn't care about your mood, it's not interested in your comfort, it's interested in your becoming, and that's why so few choose it, not because they're not capable, but because they're not committed. Because deep down, comfort is still their priority. You can't serve two masters, you can't chase growth and cling to comfort. One will always require you to sacrifice the other. And that decision, whether conscious or not, is being made every single day in your habits, your choices, your standards. Every morning you wake up and hit snooze, you choose comfort. Every time you avoid the difficult conversation, you choose comfort. Every time you let fear dictate your next step, you choose comfort, and with every choice you reinforce a pattern. You tell your mind and your spirit, this is who I am, this is what I allow. Comfort seeks the path of least resistance. It says, why bother? When you want to try something new, it says you don't need to work that hard when you start to gain momentum. It says you've done enough, even when you know you haven't given your best. It says you deserve to relax when your vision demands discipline. It praises you for surviving but never challenges you to thrive. It offers you the temporary high of distraction while robbing you of the permanent satisfaction of discipline. Commitment, however, is a contract. It's a vow you make to yourself that says, no matter what, I will show up, no matter how I feel, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes. Commitment is not dependent on motivation. It doesn't wait for the stars to align or the mood to strike. It acts, it shows up early, it stays late, it works in silence, it celebrates in private. Commitment is gritty, it's not flashy, it's not exciting every day. But it builds something that comfort never can. Character, resilience, confidence, power. You cannot grow until you choose to become more loyal to your future than your feelings, because your feelings will lie to you. They will tell you it's okay to skip today. They will tell you that progress is optional. They will tell you that one more hour of rest won't hurt. But your future self is counting on you to rise. Your dream is counting on you to act. Your potential is begging you to stop settling. Most people want results without resistance. They want transformation without the trial, but every form of real growth comes with pressure. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Muscles grow from resistance. Trees grow stronger against the wind, and people grow when they lean into the discomfort, not avoid it. The obstacle is not in the way. The obstacle is the way. The challenge is not the punishment, it is the path. Look at the most successful people in the world in any field. What separates them isn't just talent or luck. It's commitment, the decision to outlast the hard days, to outwork the competition, to out-believe the doubt. They have mastered the art of doing what needs to be done, especially when they don't feel like doing it. They have learned to embrace the discomfort because they understand that's where growth lies. That's where progress hides, that's where the edge is found. When you choose comfort, you live in cycles. You start strong, then stop. You commit, then retreat. You build momentum, then let it fade. You get close, then sabotage. And over time, this erodes your confidence. You begin to believe that maybe you're just not meant for more, that maybe you don't have what it takes, but it's not that you're broken. It's that you've trained yourself to back down when it gets hard. And every time you do, you strengthen the habit of quitting. Growth begins when you interrupt that pattern, when you override the voice that says, "Not today," and take action anyway, when you stop negotiating with yourself and start honoring your word. When you treat your goals like non-negotiables instead of optional wishes. It's in those moments of resistance when you want to quit, but you push through that you grow, that you separate from the average, that you evolve into the version of yourself you were meant to become. But here's the truth that few want to face. Growth is lonely at first. When you truly commit, you will outgrow people. You will confuse those who once understood you. You will disappoint others who are still choosing comfort. You'll have to say no to invitations, distractions, and short-term pleasures. You will sacrifice sleep, time, and sometimes even relationships. Because when you choose commitment, you're declaring that your future matters more than your present ease. Comfort will tell you to stay the same, even when you're not satisfied. It will lull you into a quiet life of mediocrity, where your potential rots beneath the surface. But commitment, true, deep commitment, will force you to confront your weaknesses, face your fears, and stretch beyond everything you thought you were capable of. It will demand more from you than you think you can give. But in that demand, it will also reveal just how powerful you truly are. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. You either rise to meet it, or you watch it pass you by. And the gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with hard decisions, relentless effort, and an unshakable commitment to growth. Not when it's easy, not when it's convenient, but every single day. There will be days when you doubt yourself, days when progress feels invisible, days when quitting feels like the easiest option, but those are the moments that matter most, because what you do on the hard days determines the kind of life you get to live. Anyone can show up when it's easy. The real ones show up when everything in them wants to stop. You must become the kind of person who follows through, who keeps promises to themselves, who does the work even when no one's watching. Because the world doesn't reward intention, it rewards execution, and execution comes from commitment, not comfort. It's easy to dream when the sun is shining. It's easy to commit when the mood is high. But real growth happens when you keep going through the storm. Growth does not come in the moments of pleasure. It comes in the moments of pain, in the moments when you choose the hard thing, the right thing, over the easy one. Every time you push through, you chip away at the old version of you, the one who chose comfort, who gave up early, who played small. And in its place, you begin to build someone new, someone powerful, someone unshakable, someone capable of achieving anything they truly commit to. So if you're not growing, stop asking what's wrong with you. Ask what you've been prioritizing. Look at your habits. Look at your choices. Are you choosing short-term comfort over long-term growth? Are you avoiding the work that scares you, challenges you, pushes you? Or are you embracing it, welcoming it, becoming it? Because in the end, the life you want is not found in comfort. It's found in the fire of discipline, the fire of sacrifice, the fire of relentless, unbreakable commitment, and that fire, once lit, becomes the very thing that forges your greatness. So if you truly want to grow, if you're done with excuses, done with waiting, done with wishing, then draw the line today. Make the decision that nothing matters more than who you are becoming. Commit beyond comfort, act beyond fear, and persist beyond failure. Because the life you want isn't hiding from you, it's waiting for you to become the version of yourself who no longer runs from the hard path, but walks it with purpose, fire, and unshakable belief.